Hello friends, my name is Shivam from DevOps Schools and I will help you to enable your learning process in various technologies of DevOps, artificial intelligence, machine learning, big data and many more. This is our initiative to help you by sharing multiple tutorials and videos. And if you want any specific tutorials on any particular topic, then please do comment in the below comment section and I will help you with it. Also, please subscribe to our premium services on YouTube, which will give you access to more content and videos to enhance your knowledge about all these topics. Also, if you want me to help you with regards to the online trainings and classroom sessions by our qualified trainers, then please do write me at contact@devopsschool.com.
Why this color is okay. So you can say this is my first floor and this is my second floor. I do have two switches connected. One is connected on the first floor, second one is connected on second floor. Okay. You can see this. This is the first floor. This is the first floor of the building. This is the second floor of the building. Now you are connected the wire in between these two switches as well. Now these are similar devices, right? Switch to switch would be a similar device. So if I say this is also connected, now if I say this would be, immediately the wire would be what? It is a cross cable automatically. So this is the three computers regarding chemistry department. Now my requirement is very simple, that my chemistry department and my physics department is there. So I do have a couple of machines from physical department. You can say we will do vice versa. Okay. I will take these two physics department. So I will say Control A, physics. This is machine 1. Physics machine 2. And this is physics machine 3. Okay, now they all are connected in the same fashion. The one which is connected by the chemistry department. Okay. So this is a very simple network you require. Now my requirement is very simple and simplified. Okay. Listen the requirement because you are supposed to do it. I will give you 10 minutes. I required the chemistry department and physics department should have two different networks. Means my requirement, they will not say that it has to be two different network. I'm telling you that you can use two different network. They said chemistry department should not see the computers from physics department. Correct? So this is the requirement. The meaning is very simple. Currently, all the computers are shared, or all the computers are shared for same devices. The requirement is very simple. If this particular guy logged into his machine, he won't be able to see by mistake. But let's say that physics department shared some folders. Okay, that these folders should be accessible to this guy, which is in first floor. Chemistry department also shared some folder, and that is a confidential information. It should be only accessible to this machine. If I combine this everything into the single network, I would be able to get shared devices. Now we have a concept called as operating system privileges that will restrict you. Okay, that's fine. But I don't want these two particular departments should able to see each other. That is my first requirement. Second requirement should be on both the switches, you're supposed to configure a proper port security. Now this particular switch, okay, this side, okay, on this particular switch, you're going to configure the port security based on sticky MAC address. You know that maximum it will go to 1, so I'm not going to do anything with that. So you should use this one. Okay. So this is my requirement. Now you have to decide your own IP address. I'm not going to tell you that what IP address we should use it. Okay. Whether your computers are able to talk with each other, that you have to check it. This particular site, okay, this side, they should do the port security based on MAC address. Manually, you have to put the MAC address of port security, any computer. It doesn't matter that any specific computer. With the help of MAC address, that means manually you need to copy paste the MAC address and you need to assign the security for that. Correct? So these are the things which you need to do it. I will give you 10 minutes and keep this assignment saved. Like let's take a screenshot of it or something which you can do it, because we want this particular assignment to be submitted to the reporting manager. So you can see here what you are going to understand: how to enable the port security. Correct? This is a technique we are going to see that. So let's do it. Kindly take a screenshot of your configuration. Do not take the screenshot of this diagram. Correct? Because the most important is how you are configured it. You can take the diagram screenshot, no doubt about it, but do not just take the screenshot of your just diagram. Take the screenshot of this router, means the configuration of this router. Correct? Take the screenshot of this particular configuration, so we will understand you are able to fire those command and you are able to understand how to configure those things. Correct? So this is your task which you are going to do. Correct? Now I will do this particular task to understand the concept called as VLAN. Now we have discussed a couple of days back regarding the VLAN. I told you that I will explain you in a practical fashion what is VLAN. This is actually virtual LAN, or you can say a LAN inside a you can say logical local area connection on the top of one physical devices. Now, to be honest with you, I do have a single switch. Correct? Now, if I want this particular thing to be isolated at a network level, what solution which I gave you? The solution is very simple. For chemistry department computers, okay, whatever computers which we have, for chemistry department, you can use the IP address block, which will be starting with 192.168.1.0. And for physics block, for physics department, you can put the block, for example, 190, I will say 10.0.0.0. Correct? Now, technically speaking, this is a class C IP address. This is a class A IP address. they are not belong to same family at all. Correct? So they are network level. What you have done, your network level isolation is done. Now this is called as logical isolation. Now we know that these two computers won't be able to see and share any data at all. 100% true, no problem. Now the problem comes when, for example, let's say this particular guy do know some hacking technique, or this particular guy know there are some software who can broadcast some malicious signals. Correct? Now imagine, technically speaking, this guy is connected to this physical switch. Correct? Now if he starts sending some broadcasting message, now technically speaking, that broadcasting message logically it should go to this network. Correct? This is a logic. But what happened practically? This guy send a broadcasting message. Now this particular person, this particular person installs some software and he's continuously sending some broadcasting message. Now whenever switch receive any broadcasting message, what he will do? What is the broadcasting MAC address which I told you? It is FFFFF. Correct? Do you remember that? FF:FF:FF:FF:FF I believe 1, 2, 3, 4, 6. This is the broadcasting MAC address. As we know that my particular switch won't be able to work on the IP addresses at all. He work on a MAC address. He said this computer want to broadcast it. So my switch don't understand your logical isolation at all, because you don't bother about what IP address, whether you are using different network, you are using different network, you do not bother about it. Correct? What he bother about? MAC address. So this guy is actually sending too much traffic, and that is a broadcasting traffic. Ultimately, what switch will do? My switch will actually sending this particular traffic to every single port of your physical switch. It will go to every port, and this particular computer do receive that particular traffic. Correct? So understand, this is very important technique. Correct? This particular traffic is going. Now you are doing network level isolation, agree. But switch don't understand this network level isolation. He will start creating and start sending the broadcasting message unnecessarily. Correct? So what is the solution for this? How we can stop this? Because if they start broadcasting this, it would be problematic for me. Correct? Now the concept is coming into the picture called as VLAN. My entire switch is actually working on VLAN technique. By default, there is a VLAN 1 already available. Correct? You can see VLAN 1 is already available inside your switches. If I go here, type enable show VLAN. You can see the VLAN 1 is already available. This is the VLAN database. VLAN 1 is already available in your router. For the port security, I fire the command that port number 1, you are the part of VLAN 1. By default, your switch is having this port, means all the ports of the switch, it's a part of VLAN 1. Remember that. This is very important. Okay, by default every switch is having a virtual LAN and by default that virtual LAN number is 1, and all the physical port which is available on the switch, all that physical port is the part of that particular VLAN. Correct? So understand, VLAN is a concept that will help me to reduce the broadcasting or reduce the broadcast domain available.
Hey viewers, are you looking for formal training on SRE practices? Take our SRE program. This course will teach you how to successfully implement site reliability engineering in the modern day 24/7 services. Kickstart your SRE training today. Contact info is mentioned in the video sidebars and in the description box. Book your seats for the upcoming batches now.
Correct? Now this is very important technique that broadcasting will be happen. Correct? Broadcasting will be happen, but it should be happen with your only specific VLAN. It should not be all the ports of the switch. Correct? It should be on that particular VLAN. Correct? This is very important technique where we are able to make sure that the broadcasting is coming from the chemistry, then it should only go to these two computers. It should not go to this. It should not broadcast it to all the ports. It will only goes to those ports where you are actually required it. Correct? So we will see what exactly how we can create a VLAN, okay, and how actually that particular thing would be happening. Correct? So let's take a break, and after the break we will come to know that how we can create a VLAN, how we can add the physical ports to the VLAN. Correct? Okay, and how we can change this entire strategy to make sure that if the broadcasting happen to the chemistry, it will go to this switch, it will go to this switch, and it will go to only this port which is the part of the chemistry VLAN. It should not go to any other physical port of the switch at all. Correct? That will help us to reduce the broadcast which is happening inside your local area connection. So let's take a break of 10 minutes. Once we come back, we will discuss more on this. Divya, you are supposed to decide your IP address. Okay, any IP address scheme you want to use it. I gave it as an example. Now you know that which IP address is private, which IP addresses are public. Correct? Everything, you know, subnetting as well. Correct? So you can take one IP address, divide it into two different subnet, and one subnet I can assign for the chemistry, another subnet I can assign for the physics. It's simple. It's completely up to you. Let's configure a very basic networking topology. Let's say I'm creating this two departments. I will go to the chemistry department and I will say this chemistry department should use 192.168.1.100 because as I decided that chemistry department should go for this IP addressing. Okay. Same thing for this chemistry department, 192.168.1.101. Okay. 192.168.1.103. So my chemistry departments are done. So I put the IP addresses. I told you I don't require any IP address to be configured on the switch until and unless if I would like to do the configuration. Correct? But majority people will do that. We will see the strategy later on. Now let's go for physics department. I will put the IP address belong to class A. I'm not doing subnetting in real life. Actually, subnetting is happened, and different subnet would be given to different departments. Okay, so this is also working fine. Okay. Okay, so I configured the IP address. So as per our department, we have configured the switch. Now you can see I'm able to ping with each other, no problem. If I say ping 192 dot, sorry, first of all check IP is properly configured. Yes, so if I say ping 192.168.1.101, I'm getting response, no problem. I'm getting response from 102 as well. It is not. What is the IP address of this? 103. 102 is not there. That's the problem. So let's create 102 over here. Okay, no problem. You can see I have a complete two different networks running over here. Okay, and they are running fine. So if I say 10 dot check first IP address, okay, ping 10.0.0.2 is there, I will say 1, no problem. So they are using same physical switch. There are two different network, no problem at all. They are able to communicate. My concern is not a communication. My concern is multiple broadcasting traffic which is coming across through this particular switch. Now, why they are communicating at this moment? Because you can see the physical port, now it is connected to the port number 1. It is connected to the port number 4. It is connected to the port number what is this port number? You can see this is connected to the port number 3. So 1, 3, 4 and 2 is connected over here. Correct? So you can see port number 1, port number 4, port number 3, they are the part of a single VLAN that is called as VLAN 1. Similarly, I do have a VLAN 1 over here, and all the ports currently it is the part of their VLAN. That's why they are able to communicate with each other. Because if I want to create a chemistry department and I want to create a different VLAN for that, then I have to make sure that whatever physical port which is connected for that chemistry department computer, that particular port has to be the part of that VLAN. Correct? So this is very important. Now similarly, you can see chemistry department, this is connected to the port number 3, this is connected to the port number 1, and this is connected to the port number 4. Correct? So this is also the part of VLAN. So VLAN 1 is communicating to the VLAN 1 on the second switch. Obviously, they will be able to communicate with each other. But the moment I create some different VLAN, and if I put my physical port into that VLAN, this scenario would be changed. So I will give you the idea. Okay, don't worry about that. Tomorrow we will go deep dive into VLAN, STP, Ether channeling. Don't worry about that. But get an idea what exactly would be happening over here. Correct? So if I say I will create a VLAN over here for chemistry department. Now name does not matter. VLAN should have a unique VLAN ID. By default, on a particular Cisco devices, you can create up to 1024 VLANs. Correct? If you would like to create more than 1024, we can call it as extended VLAN for that. Okay, so don't worry about that. So I will give you the idea what exactly VLAN can do. Tomorrow you will get complete idea what VLAN can supposed to be configured, what is the purpose. So let's say config T. If I say show, if I say VLAN, show VLAN, I will come to know that there are VLAN 1, the VLAN ID is 1, which is a default VLAN, and your switch is actually working on this particular VLAN at this moment of time. That's why they are communicating. I would like to create a VLAN for chemistry. I would say config T. I would say VLAN 100. Now this 100 is nothing but VLAN ID. Correct? This particular VLAN ID is important because this is very precise number. Then I would say name should be chemistry. Correct? Good. That's it. Yes, create a VLAN, we required only that much thing. Now if I say show VLAN, you will be getting the VLAN number 100. The name of the VLAN is chemistry. Now currently no other single port is the part of this VLAN. Now I know that my chemistry computer is connected to the port number here. Okay, port number 1. I want to take this port number to the chemistry VLAN because I know that this particular computer which is connected to the port number 1, it is belong to chemistry. Correct? So this is very important. So I will say how to take the port into the VLAN. So if I say conf t, I will go to that interface. Now what is the interface number? That was 1. So I will say interface fast Ethernet 0/1. So I'm in that interface. First, I'm going to tell that interface that you are accessed interface. So I will say switch port mode access. I'm just telling that I'm telling this interface that you are an access mode. You should work as an access mode because your end is nothing but an end device connected to that. That's great. Then I need to take this VLAN from VLAN 1 and put it into the VLAN 100, the one which we have created. So I will say switch port access VLAN. So if I fire this particular command, and if I say what exactly happened, you will see under 100 VLAN ID, name of the VLAN is chemistry. Now this particular port is the part of this virtual LAN. Now if I go to this computer and if I try to ping it to another one, see what will happen. Okay, so wait for, okay, now you can see earlier it was able to ping each other. We have seen it. Now if I say ping 192.168.1.101, it is saying request timeout. Why? Because this computer is not the part of VLAN 1 now. Earlier, it is the part of VLAN 1, which was a default VLAN. But what I did, I created another VLAN into this switch. And I took this physical port, not physically, logically, I take that port out of that VLAN 1 and put it into the VLAN 100. And I know that now this particular computer is the part of VLAN 100 now, logically. correct? Now, technically speaking, they are belong to single family as per the IP address, but still they are not able to communicate. Why? Because this computer do have a different VLAN now. It will only talk with the computer which is the part of his VLAN only, correct? Now, if I connect any other computer over here which is belong to chemistry, and if I take that port into his VLAN, it will work, no problem, correct? So I will show you on a single switch how we can take it. So what I will do, I will take one more computer, okay, and I will say this is also a chemistry department. We will check where it is connected. It is connected to the port number 5. Okay, so what I will do, I will go to the interface 5. I will say interface fast ethernet 0/5.
Hey viewers, our Master in DevOps engineering program can help you to hone the skills necessary to succeed in high-level DevOps positions. So, what are you waiting for? Enroll now and earn certification that show you are keeping pace with today's technical roles and requirements. Contact info is mentioned in the video sidebars and in the description box. Book your seats for the upcoming batches now.
Okay, let it become green. Meanwhile, I will give the IP address 192.168.1.110. Okay. Okay, now before I move it to, you can see they are in the same network, but they are not in the same VLAN, because by default your port number 5 is the part of VLAN 1, correct? Now I will take this particular port number into VLAN 100 and you can see what will happen. So I go here. Okay, I will just do the continuous ping. Okay, I will go to this switch. Okay, so I am there. Now type switch port mode access. Okay, I'm telling that particular port that you are access port. Now I'm taking that port into VLAN 100. So switch port access VLAN 100. Enter. Now the port number 5 is also the part of VLAN 5. So VLAN 100. Correct. Now you will see, now it will take some time. Now these two computers are able to talk with each other. Now why they are talking with each other? Because network wise they are the same part, and VLAN wise also they are in the same VLAN. So within the same switch, if I have both the networks in the same, both the compute, you can see it's replying. Both the computers do have a same network family, and both the computers are under the same VLAN, then only they should talk. Now any broadcast will be happen for this network 192.168.1.0 network. Any broadcast would be happened, it would be only going to this two port of your physical router. It will not go to any other port at all, correct? So this is for a single router which I have shown you. Now if I would like to do the same thing for my this router, this is also a first floor. I want this all four to be talk with each other because they are in the same family, they are in the same department. Okay, agree, no problem at all. We will do that. So I will say this is chemistry. I just want to create a same VLAN on this particular switch. Now not by the name, the VLAN ID has to be same. The name of the VLAN really doesn't matter for us. The VLAN ID, that number which you are created, the same VLAN should be created over here. Okay, agree? No problem, we will do that. So I will go to the command prompt. I will go to the enable. I will go to the config. Correct? I will go to that show VLAN. Okay. Currently, you can see all the ports are the part of this. No issues. I will say VLAN 100. Correct. That is the same VLAN ID which we are created on that particular other router. Enter. Now after that, I need to give the name. Name really doesn't matter. I put chemistry over there. I put anything over there. That really doesn't matter for us. This ID has to be same on both the sides. But I will say this is also a chemistry VLAN. That's great. I will exit. Correct. I will say show VLAN. You can see the VLAN 100 is created, which is active. But currently, I don't have any physical port be the part of that VLAN. So I will say these are the port number 2 and port number 1. Correct. These both the ports should be the part of VLAN 100. Okay, no problem. Now, there is a very interesting command is over here. Interface range. Correct. Fast Ethernet 0/1. Now this is again another prompt. Now I am firing whatever commands after this. All that command would be applicable for this range for port number 1 as well as port number 2. So if I would like to configure some unique settings to certain range of the port, I can, rather taking one by one port, I will take the command called as range. I will take port number 1 to 10. I would like to configure some setting. So rather doing one by one, I can take the range command into that and I can configure it. Correct. Now I would like to say switch port mode access. Correct. Switch port access VLAN 100. That's it. I took this two port to be the part of the VLAN 100 which is configured on this switch. Okay, what is the identical thing which I have done? VLAN 100 is here. Same VLAN 100 is here. Correct? That's great. Now wait for some time and we can just clarify. Do show VLAN. You don't require to type show VLAN. Just to confirm it that port number 1 and 2. You can see port number 1 and 2 is the part of this VLAN. It has been removed from here. That's great. Now, is it possible to ping from here to here now? Because as per the network, they are in the same family. As per the VLAN also, they are in the same family. Okay, we'll check that, no problem. I will say ping 192.168.1.101. Still not pinging. Okay, that is request timeout. I will say 102. It is not pinging. 101. It is pinging. Why? Because they are connected to the same switch. So VLAN traffic which is happening. But why it is not pinging from here to here? The reason behind it, now whatever local area connections data which we are traveling through the MAC address. But now one more header would be added. If you remember, there is a standard called as 802.1q. 802.1q. This is a standard data frame for VLAN. Now I don't just have I don't just have the source IP address, destination IP address, source MAC address, destination MAC address. Now I do got one more data frame which is standard of 802.1q. I also got one more data available in header that is called as VLAN ID. What is called as VLAN ID. So whenever the data is coming from this switch, it will go to this particular. If it is coming from this computer, it is going to this particular switch. Switch will read what VLAN ID you want to go for. He said VLAN ID 100. Okay, he said he will process that VLAN ID 100. He will check what are the physical port available in VLAN ID. He will get that list. Then he will go and check, okay, VLAN ID 100 is available. These are the ports are available. These are the MAC address of that particular port. Which MAC address I want to reach? Then he will reach to that MAC address, which is the part of that VLAN only. He will not going to reach anywhere right now because he will check the VLAN ID first. Why? Because your data got one more header called as 802.1q header that contains your VLAN ID. Okay, then why it is going here? Then why it is not going here? Now remember that in order to carry the VLAN ID, okay, from one switch to another switch, I need a specific dedicated line who can handle this VLAN tagging. Because whenever I am taking this particular frame out of this switch, I told you that every switch, what he will do, he will put his own information on the top of that frame and then he will forward it to another device. Correct? That is called as data encapsulation. Whenever this particular packet coming to this switch, he will say he want to go to this particular VLAN ID. He is the part of VLAN ID 100. This is the MAC address of it. Then what this particular switch will do? This switch will check his VLAN database. He will check his all interfaces of that particular VLAN. Then he will check what are the MAC address which is connected to those interfaces. And he will confirm that the MAC address of the destination and the MAC address which you are provided, which is the part of that VLAN. If it is available within the switch, it will no problem. But whenever it is available on other switch, I want to exit out of the packet, I should put the frame. Correct? But to carry this VLAN traffic, I should make sure that this both the interfaces should be a trunk port. Should be a trunk port. I told you there are two type of ports available on the switch. Access port, which will carry the normal traffic, and the trunk port, which will be carrying VLAN traffic, because trunk port only know how to process VLAN. Because what happened, this particular switch put his frame, he will transfer it to this switch. Whenever this switch, if it is a normal access port, he will only read the frame which is provided by this switch. He won't be able to understand what is the VLAN ID in that particular frame, which he want to reach it to this particular thing. Because he should also know what VLAN ID where he want to transfer the packet. Correct? So these two end has to be trunk. If it is not trunk, you cannot be able to transfer the VLAN traffic between this. Access mode won't be able to understand 802.q standard in a simple meaning. So what I will do, I will go to this switch and I will make sure that where it is connected. Close this. is connected to the port number 2. This is connected to the port number 3. Now, if you can see, enable you can see port number 2, it's a part of VLAN 2. You can see that. Sorry, VLAN 1. This is not a trunk port. This is a normal port right now. So whenever the traffic is coming out of this particular port, technically speaking, this one, he won't be able to understand where to go because it contains VLAN tagging. He don't know how to process it. Correct? So what we can do, whenever say interface fast Ethernet 0/2, correct? And I will say switch port mode, correct? If I exit out of it, and if I say show VLAN, you can see that port is removed from this VLAN 1. It is not available in 100 also. It is not available in a VLAN because that is not an access port at all. It is a trunk port who can carry the VLAN traffic. So if I say show interface trunk, you will can see this fast Ethernet port 02. It's a VLAN trunk port now, and he allowed to carry the traffic from one VLAN 1 to VLAN 1005 by default. Correct? Now wait for this to come up, because if I convert one port as a trunk, automatically the another side where it is connected, he will convert that port also in a trunk mode. Correct? That particular feature is called as DTP, that is called as dynamic trunking protocol. Correct? Now let's go here. Sorry, let's go to chemistry computer. Let's check now. Okay. It is 100. So I know that ping 192.168.1.110. I know it is going to work. Now say 10.
Hey viewers, trying to get into DevSecOps? Enroll for our DevSecOps certified professional programs and earn the certification that shows you are fit for these technical roles and requirements. Contact info is mentioned in the video sidebars and in the description box. Book your seats for the upcoming batches now.
One is working. Correct. 102. It is working now. Now the traffic is actually coming from here and here. There is a very beautiful feature is available that is called as simulation. Okay, I will show you that. Okay, I should event filters. I don't want this. Okay, I will tell you what you will come to know that how and how it is happening. Okay. Okay, I will go here. I will go to the command prompt. Okay. It's a complete simulation. It is going to check and he is going to understand how the data packets are actually moving together. Correct. So it will tell you how the data are moving. So if I send any broadcasting package, it is going to show you how he is going to do the broadcasting. Okay, so response is also coming to this. Okay, if I want to see the packet also, I can see how the packet looks like. Okay, chemistry 1, chemistry 3. Okay, you can see there is this type of packets, port forwarding, input. Okay, this is the packet header which you can see, correct, which contain the hello messages. This is the Ethernet frame. Okay, this is the source IP addresses. Everything you can find out regarding this, correct. So this is the header side of it. So currently it is working. Now let's go to the real time now. So this is how it is working. So VLAN concept is very simplified way. They want to distribute your connection through the network layer. Even logically, whatever happening inside a switch, that switch will only broadcast or switch will only contact to that physical port, which is the part of the VLAN. Now, any broadcast is coming or any broadcast is generated by these two computers now from this switch. Okay, if this is computer broadcasted some ARP information, now that ARP information would only go to the chemistry 4 and the information would be going to the chemistry 2 and that same information goes to the chemistry 1 because it is a small VLAN now. So within a switch, I have created small VLANs together and I'm connected these two VLANs with the help of trunk port. This is the trunk port which we have configured. It's little bit difficult to digest it if you are doing it for the first time, but this is called as virtual LAN concept, correct? Now there are data VLANs, that means I can carry the data through that VLAN. I can carry the voice VLAN, that means I can carry the voice data through that particular VLAN as well. Now majority of your companies do have IP phones. That IP phones is nothing but the implementation of voice VLANs, correct? So VLAN is actually helping us to break up the broadcast domain. Now I am not able to do any broadcast to these computers at all. I can do the broadcasting only with these VLANs. I can communicate with only with this VLAN. Now people ask me, in real life there are hundred of routers are there, hundred of switches are there. How people are going to manage the physical port to be the part of that VLAN? How it is technically possible? Now there is a concept called as VLAN membership policy server. Remember that this is very interesting. That is called as Vmps server. Okay, this is called as VLAN membership policy server. Now, Cisco do have the solution for this. They said computer and connect the physical port. Then he won't be able to the part of that VLAN because technically speaking, his port number, correct, port number 1 is the part of VLAN 100, but due to some problem, he removed from the port number 1 and connected to the port number 2. Now, port number 2 is not the part of VLAN 100. So obviously, this computer won't be able to communicate with his VLAN at all. Now, this is a common problem which we can face regarding VLAN, correct? Because it is actually dependent on your physical port, correct? Now, in real life, people are using this that is called as VMPS, VLAN Membership Policy Server. Now, VMPS is actually working with the help of MAC addresses. He will register the MAC address to the specific VLAN. He does not work on the physical port of the VLAN at all, correct? So it will take the MAC address from your particular computer. I will go to this server and I will put the entry that this MAC address belongs to VLAN 100, something like that. So you can connect it to any physical port. Whenever you are trying to connect to this particular switch, he will go to the policy server he will check in which particular VLAN he is the part of. Correct? He will confirm that his VLAN is available. He is the part of that particular VLAN. Then automatically he would be able to connect to his VLAN. So VLAN should be there, no problem. You have to configure the VLAN over here. This server only makes sure that whenever you connect this particular computer with the help of the MAC address of this computer, this server will maintain the membership of that particular server to be the part of that VLAN. That's it. Then you can connect it anywhere. You can disconnect this because your VLAN membership is not depend on the physical port of the switch. It is actually depend on the MAC address of your computer. Correct? Now this product is very expensive. Cisco is actually charging a very huge amount of money for this product. But this is very, very reliable if you are having 100, 200 or more than that switches. Now companies do require huge number of switches, and if you can do something like this, creating each and every port and put it into the VLAN, it's a time consuming process for you. Correct? So remember that VLAN is nothing but a virtual LAN that will help is to reduce the broadcast which is happening over the switch. Correct? VLAN do have a unique VLAN ID. Whatever name which you are given to the VLAN, it really doesn't matter for me. The VLAN ID has to be unique. Correct? Now, according to the Cisco 1 to 1005, that much number of VLANs I can create on the top of the switch. Correct? But remember that if I would like to create, I will show you. Okay, if I try to create any VLAN, okay, I will say VLAN 3000. Okay, it is not going to create it because maximum number is 1005. Okay, but if I would like to create any VLAN which is an extended VLAN, correct, then you have to configure VTP protocol for that. VTP stand for VLAN Trunking Protocol. We will discuss about this particular part as well. Don't worry about it. Correct. Till so far, do you have any doubts in this particular VLAN? Now, whatever I gave you as a task, that is not including any VLAN concept at all. Correct. You just need to configure a specific password related configuration, SSH related configuration, provide the necessary IP address to that particular network. That's it. Choose the IP address range according to your requirement and provide it to the computers. Whatever we have discussed so far, that VLAN concept, it's completely different. Tomorrow we will once again discuss the VLAN. We will go deep dive into the VLAN and we will finish it by setting up a very good practical on it. Correct? So understand, this is very, very important concept you are using in your organization on a daily basis. You don't know in which VLAN you are the part of it. Correct? So let's say this is a target machine and this is a hacker machine. So hacker is sitting over here. What he can think by looking at the IP address, he will try to send some broadcasting message, but that broadcast will not be happen within in all network at all. It will only happen within his VLAN. He will try to judge what is the IP addressing scheme, but this IP addressing scheme is only for chemistry. My physics is running on different IP address. My IT is running on different IP address, which I am not aware of. Correct? So this is also the security measures which people can take advantage of this VLAN. Correct? So I believe that we should stop here. Do you have any doubts or anything which you would like to ask till so far we have created? We have created what is the method of the switching, how switch can learn the MAC address, what are the different way to configure the different password on the switch and the router, what is the switch port security, correct? If any MAC address flooding attack which is supposed to do, how you can stop it. And the last concept which we have seen, what exactly the VLAN is. Any doubt, please put your comment on the chat. I will happy to answer that particular question. No doubt. That's great. Then what you can do, as I discussed with you, create that particular scenario with the packet tracer. Okay. Don't worry about the commands. I will give you the list of the commands, and do not remember the command because that will not expected from you, because there are hell lot of help is provided by your Cisco iOS only. So you are not supposed to worry about that how to memorize this particular command. Don't worry. Understand the concept behind it and how that concept can be implemented and how we can utilize it. Correct? So that is important. Correct? So tomorrow morning, 9 o'clock, once again, we will jump into the VLAN. We will complete the VLAN. We will try to jump into the protocol called as STP, and then we will complete the ether channeling, and then we will start working on routing concepts. Now I will put the router in between that, and we will check how the routing can works. Okay.
Thanks for watching. Want to study further? Join our training programs today.